The council meeting of December 19th, 2023 will now please come to order at 8:07 p.m. The audience is invited to join council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broussard?
Present.
Ms. Gilchrist? Here. Mr. Glassberg?
Here.
Ms. Heeman? Mr. Lippert?
Present.
Mr. Madden?
Here.
Mr. Scarl?
Present.
Ms. Williamson? Here.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Before beginning our agenda this evening, I wanted to take a moment to personally thank Angela Williamson for her dedicated service to not only North Olmsted City Council, but to the residents of North Olmsted since being appointed to council in January of 2010. During her time on council, Angela has served as either chair or vice chair for every single one of City Council's committees, and she was a very staunch advocate, in particular for our city safety forces. I've had the pleasure of working with Angela the longest, as I preceded her on council by a short 10 months. And during that time, we usually saw eye to eye. We shared in many of the city's successes. We also had some spirited disagreements along the way, which is not unusual on any city council, by the way. But we always respected each other, and I've always appreciated that about her. Angela, I wish you nothing but happiness and good health in your future endeavors, and thank you once again.
Thank you. We're not supposed to do that. Thank you.
I could have gone on and on.
I can't speak,
You got off
so-
easy.
We'll talk later. I'll do this later.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there are no additions or corrections, the council meeting minutes of December 5th, 2023 are approved as written. I'd like to remind everybody that the first meeting of the new year will be on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, due to the holiday. The following legislation is considered for suspension of the rules this evening. On second reading, Resolution 2023-142, Ordinance 2023-143, Ordinance 2023-144, and Resolution 2023-146. And on first reading, Ordinances 2023-147, as well as Resolution 2023-150. Moving into reports, Mayor Daley Jones, do you have a report this evening?
I do, Mr. President. Thank you. Last week, I had the opportunity to meet with Senator Sherrod Brown, State Director John Ryan, and was informed that the City of North Olmsted had been selected by the Senator for $271,000 in federal funding toward the restoration of the historic Old Town Hall. Tonight on Council's agenda is Resolution 2023-152, a resolution supporting the administration's request for appropriations from the state of Ohio by and through the state's capital budget for the first phase of the Old Town Hall revitalization project. My administration continues to identify any and all funding opportunities for the Old Town Hall revitalization. There continues to be several additional steps in the process for this project, but this is a major accomplishment for our city. The project will restore Old Town Hall through a variety of repairs, including new roofing, windows which are compliant with the U.S. Department of the Interior Historic Preservation Standards, tuck pointing repairs to make the building fully ADA compliant, and basement and foundation waterproofing. This building is on the National Historic Register. We completed the last phase of leaf pickup on Thursday of last week, and now it is appropriate to discuss snow plowing and salting, especially after last night's snowfall. The City Service Department personnel are trained in snow plowing and salting the city streets. They are responsible for doing so before, during, and after snow events. Following city ordinances for winter snow events allows us to serve our residents more effectively. Remember, there's no parking on the hydrant side of the street and no parking between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the snow depth exceeds 2 inches or when a snow emergency is issued for the city. During a snow event, the streets will be plowed and salted given the following priorities. First, the main streets, then the secondary streets, then residential streets within school zones, and then all other residential streets and developments. In line with the generally accepted salting practice, there will be limited salting during late evening and early morning hours from 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. as salting is not as effective due to low traffic volumes. And the goal is to have all streets cleared of snow and ice within 24 hours or earlier after the conclusion of a snow event. Speaking of freezing, National Skating Day will take place from 1 until 3 p.m. on Sunday, January 7th, 2024 at the North Olmsted Recreation Center. There will be open skating, performances by the Cleveland Ice Storm, concessions, prizes, and free giveaways. The North Olmsted Home Holiday Decorating Contest continues to make our holiday season festive. Winners in the contest will be announced this Friday, December 22nd. A list of participating homes is on our city website and has been posted on social media if you'd like to drive around and view the houses. I had the pleasure to join our Public Safety Director and our West Side police officers for their annual Cops and Kids event recently. Children in local communities were selected to participate in a shopping experience with local law enforcement at Walmart for the kids to buy toys. Walmart and their employees raised $37,000 this year to provide a Merry Christmas to children in need. On Wednesday, December 6th, it was my privilege to host a holiday brunch for all North Olmsted employees at Springvale Ballroom. As part of the Annual 3, as well as the first week of the new year, trash will be picked up on Friday, December 29th, and Friday, January 5th, because of the Christmas and New Year holidays. I want to wish all members of City Council and the administration a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And I also would like to thank Councilwoman Williamson for her many years of service to the North Olmsted community. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Director of Law Garreau, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I would start off in concurring with you and the mayor, wishing Angela the very best. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. And thank you for your service. A comment on a couple different things we have going on. First is Kovach Group LLC versus Board of Zoning and Building Appeals. You would know that as the Kava Bar case. The record was filed, the brief of the appellant was filed by 12/12, and we have a brief of appellee supporting the decision of the BZBA is due to be filed on the 27th. So we'll get that taken care of and defend the BZBA's decision. One of the projects the law department's been working on over the course of the past several months has been enforcement of our code with respect to where registered sex offenders can reside within the city of North Olmsted. We would, on the order of 15 different cases were found to be existing in the city of North Olmsted, and we have those in various stages of enforcement, really over, not the past few months, over the course of the past year. 5 of those individuals relocated with notice of potential criminal or civil action. 6 more vacated pursuant to civil action to enforce the law, 4 of whom entered into an agreed judgment entry to relocate. Another 4 are actually currently pending litigation enforcement. 2 have lawyers that are contesting the code. 2 others failed to vacate. So we're going to enforce that to force them to comply with the code. We've had a pretty good amount of success, generally speaking, in the past with just giving the notices, advising people. Frequently, the offenders, although it says on the web page, the very page for the sheriff, you should check local codes to see if there are other requirements. Frequently, when found, they will say they simply didn't know that North Olmsted had requirements that might be different than the state of Ohio. When they find that out, they generally relocate. So I can keep you informed as we go through that. But generally speaking, we've had some pretty good success in getting them to comply, and compliance usually means relocating. So again, also a a joyous holiday Christmas season, and Happy New Year. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Director of Finance Copper, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do, Mr. President. First, I would like to thank Councilwoman Williamson for her years of service. I've enjoyed working with you. While we haven't always agreed, we've always respectfully dealt with issues on a professional level, and I appreciate that. And I wish you all the best in what your future endeavors are. And I'd like to wish Council a Merry Christmas. And lastly, the October financial reports were sent out to you this evening in email. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving into council committee reports, Councilwoman Williamson, Chairwoman of the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee. Do you have a report this evening?
I do not, but I like a moment of personal privilege.
Of course.
Director Cowper, thank you for getting the memo. We dressed in the same colors this evening. As I wrap up my 14 years of service to the city of North Olmsted, I wanted to take a few minutes on my last city council meeting. I thought I was going to get through this without crying. Thank you.
You got this.
Do I need to make you laugh?
No, B does that the best.
Right.
Say Motorola.
Say
Motorola, please, yes, just keep saying that, please.
It's an inside joke.
I wanted to reflect on all the good we've done together. As chair of the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee for many years, I've sponsored or co-sponsored over a dozen pieces of legislation that I'm confident will keep our community safe, thriving suburb that we all call home. Just to name a few, in 2018, I sponsored the prohibition of the sale to minors of vaping and e-cigarettes. In 2018, it was a resolution declaring the opioid epidemic a public nuisance in the city. 2019, we recognized April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, where 1 in 6 women have been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. 2020, I sponsored legislation to create a voluntary database of exterior recording devices to be used in the investigation of crimes. 2021, we rewrote the vicious and dangerous animals ordinances in the city. 2022, we banned the discharge of fireworks. 2022, we also had the repeal of the dispatch center legislation. 2023, we made design improvements to city council chambers, and in 23, we also placed a moratorium of the sale of unregulated psychoactive substances. Now, this is just a few of the pieces that have been near and dear to me, but I'm so proud to have represented the residents of the city for all of this time. I made it my purpose to remain an independent voice for our residents, to speak my mind, and to always give each matter due diligence and consideration. I made decisions or cast votes which sometimes put me at odds with others here on council, as you heard from Council President Brostar and Director Copper. But thank you to all who supported me throughout this tenure I've had. I know I'm leaving council in a much better place than it was when I began, and I hope the great people in our city will still count on me to represent them in the future, because this is not the last time you will see me. So thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Councilman Lippert, Chairman of the Building, Zoning, and Development Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I don't have a report this evening, Mr. President, but first, I know I've talked to Councilwoman Williamson privately. I just want to say it's been a great 10 years together on council, and we always had honest and straightforward conversations, which is all you can ask for, and so I'll miss you here at council. The other thing I need to do is I would like to make a motion to extend the recommendation from Planning Commission on ordinance 2023-121 for 30 days, and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to extend the moratorium on 2023-131 made by,
21.
I'm sorry?
121.
121, thank you.
Mr. President, This legislation was a referral of an obligation for the Planning and Design Commission, is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
To review the legislation we've sent them, and they do have to work within a tight time frame. So it's to extend the period of time that they would have to do that review.
For 30 days.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I heard it stated correctly, but
I
I just
said
wanted to make.
extend it by 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Motion made by Councilman Lippert, seconded by Councilwoman Williamson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes by a vote of 6-0.
That was my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Scarl, Vice Chair of the Recreation, Public Parks, and Buildings Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Mr. President, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Glassburn, Chairman of the Finance Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do, Mr. President. Finance Committee met this evening at December 19th at 7:15 p.m. Present were council members Broussard, Gilchrist, Glassburn, Limpert, Madden, and Scarl, the mayor, all the directors, and the special assistant to the mayor. There were 5 items of legislation on the agenda, first of which was 23-145, the capital budget. That provides for funding for the data closet at the rec center, additional work under the Brook Park underpass, road pavings throughout the city, and stormwater management at the new Spruce site. But there was a need for an amendment to remove an item concerning windows at the police station. That was favorably recommended 2-0, and I will, at the end of my report, ask for the amendment on the windows. Last item was 2023-146 concerning funding for our Community Improvement Corporation as it is getting off the ground. This provides $50,000 startup funding for the CIC as we had previously budgeted, as well as $25,000 for neighborhood beautification grants. The budget and criteria for both of those initiatives administered by the CIC are being developed by the board, and more details will come out on that in January. That concludes my finance report, which the committee ended at 7:39. So at this time, I will move to amend 2023-145 regarding the window item I mentioned and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to amend ordinance 2023-145 made by Councilman Glassburn, seconded by Councilman Limpert. Roll call, please.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Scarl?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Gilchrist?
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-145 is amended by a vote of 6-0. I want to circle back to the amendment that Councilman Limpert asked for. I'm sorry, the motion for 2023-121. We omitted Councilman Madden, so Councilman Madden, would you care to register a vote on the matter?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Yes, you'd like to register a
Yes,
vote?
and
And
yes.
yes, the vote is yes, okay. Yes. All right, so that motion carries by a vote of 6-0. Thank you. And sorry for the omission. Councilman Scarl, Chairman of the Environmental Control Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report, Mr. President, but could I have a moment of personal privilege?
Of course.
Thank you. I also would like to thank Councilwoman Williamson for her 14 years of service, of which 2 of the last years I had the privilege of working with her. And I just want to wish her the best in whatever she decides that she will be doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gilchrist, Chairwoman of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do not have a report this evening, Mr. President. However, I would like to ask for a moment of personal privilege.
It's all yours.
And I just want to thank Angela for her years of service and tell her she will be missed.
Councilman Madden, Chairman of the Streets and Transportation Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report, Mr. President, but if I may have a moment also.
Saw that coming.
I just want to pass along my sentiments as well to Councilwoman Williamson. Had a short time working with you. I regret that. But I do look forward to continuing to speak with you and welcome your input.
I'm always here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any letters or communications to come before council at this time?
No, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll now move into audience participation. Thank you for attending tonight's council meeting. Public comment offers the opportunity for members of the public to share information and bring issues and concerns to the attention of city council members. It is not a debate, and public comment speakers should not expect a back and forth exchange. Council members may ask clarifying questions of the speaker, of city staff, or of fellow council members. Those attending city council meetings should show the same respect to others that they wish to have shown to them. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address council, please come to the podium, state and spell your name and address for the clerk. And if you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of that city and proceed with your comments, as you will have up to 5 minutes.
Yes, my name is Janice Denham, Janice Denham. I live on East Park Drive. There has been an ever-mounting body of published studies ignored by the FCC, clearly indicating that exposure to wireless radiation can lead to numerous health effects, especially for children. Research indicates wireless radiation increases cancer risk, damages memory, alters brain development, impacts reproductive health, and much more. Furthermore, the way the FCC measures our daily exposure to cell phone and cell tower radiation is fatally flawed and provides a false sense of security. Environmental Health Trust submitted hundreds of pages of scientific evidence in their case against the FCC, which they won. No federal agency has reviewed science indicating impacts to the brain, reproduction, trees, or wildlife. Not the Food and Drug Administration, not the Centers for Disease Control, not the National Cancer Institute, not the Environmental Protection Agency. For decades, each of these agencies has downplayed the health effects of wireless radiation on their public websites due to the fact that a telecom-financed scientist drafted web pages to be put online by our federal government. While our community park is 40 acres in size, due to its rectangular shape, the width of the park is quite narrow. That means wherever TowerCo would place a cell tower, it will be as close as 400 feet from residents' homes. I have found a range of what is considered a safe distance from cell towers. The most referenced distance is from 1/4 to 1/3 of a mile. Virtually no one whose home surrounds the park will be a safe distance. My suggestion is that TowerCo should pay for the special insulation these homeowners will need in their attics, as well as the special paint for their walls and special curtains for their windows to keep this radiation from entering their homes. Our senior center surely will require protection, and if the tower is placed up near Lorraine Road, it will be vital to provide the same protection to Ascension Lutheran Church. Their preschoolers are the most vulnerable individuals to be impacted. As it was TowerCo's idea to place a cell tower in our community park, and they will be reaping the rewards, they surely should pay. I strongly suggest that if you unconscionably go ahead with placing the tower in our park, you have it written into the contract with TowerCo that they will be responsible for these expenses, as well as those incurred by residents who develop health issues as a result of said tower. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time and service. Let's go to a happy place real quick. Imagine looking out your back window with your grandkids and your kids.
Excuse me, I need your name and address
Oh, I
for the
forgot that
record.
part. Stop
No
the clock,
words.
stop the timer. Sorry. Lori,
Timer is stopped.
thank you, President. Lori, L-O-R-I, last name's Kashani, C-A-S-C-I-A-N-I. I live on Canterbury Road in North Homestead. Is that it?
That'll work. Thank you.
All
Timer
right.
started.
Give me an extra minute on the timer then. No, just kidding. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time and service to the community. Let's go to a happy place. Imagine looking out your back window with your kids and your grandkids, all happy looking at all the little animals running around and giggling. And you're looking at your grandchild and all of a sudden they start screaming bloody murder. Mommy, Mommy, there's gunmen in your backyard. This is what has happened to me. It's for the shooters to be back there. They would have to be within 200 feet of a home to be able to shoot. How many of you have walked back there in the woods? Do you have any idea of this area? There's one access point off of Route Road for the policemen to get into. That's why they end up on people's private property, because they can't get out. This land is surrounded by homes on all sides except for that one entry. The letter I received about the deer calling should be distributed to all the residents of North Homestead. It was not distributed to residents on Woodpath because I talked to a bunch of them and they never received it. You are putting people in harm's way. People walk their dogs back there. Bullets can ricochet. And yes, the officers are trained, but accidents do happen. A sharpshooter in Maine killed a lady because she had white gloves on because they thought she was a deer. The Ohio Revised Code 501-46-1508 states, no person shall at any time take, hunt, kill, pursue, or shoot any wildlife animals by any means within 400 feet of a camping area, overnight facility, picnic area, parking lot, and other structures. If they don't want you to be within 400 feet of these areas, you should not be shooting within 200 feet of a home. The Division of Wildlife Annual Summary of Ohio Deer Program Summer of 23 report. While the Division of Wildlife does not routinely count deer, several trends that reflect changes in the size of deer population are monitored annually, including the number of bucks harvested, carcasses removed from roadways, deer seen per hour, and number of days to harvest. Based on the fact of the calling program that took less than half the deer that ODNR said for the city this past year, there is a low number of deer around. Mayor Jones, you and I spoke on the phone, and you even stated to me that they pulled out of that area because there weren't any deer. They weren't finding any deer to shoot. According to the Department of Wildlife, being a responsible order to prevent hunting incidents is your first priority. It's important to remember that most common hunting incidents result from hunters' misjudgment mistakes. This is exactly what I'm talking about because the gunmen, our officers, do not know the property lines. The four main hunting-related shooting incidents are hunter judgment mistakes, such as mistaking other persons for game or not checking the foreground background before firing. Although houses surrounding Canterbury Woods, someone could easily be roaming in that woods. A kid chasing a dog into the woods, going after their dog, not realizing what the no trespassing sign means. Safety rule violations including pointing the muzzle in an unsafe direction and ignoring proper procedures or difficult terrain. If any of you walk back there, there's some major difficult terrain back there. Lack of control and practice, which can lead to accidental discharge and stray shots. Mechanical failure. Per your letter of elevated stands used by the hunters, the Ohio Division of Wildlife Handbook states that the following elevated stands have some drawbacks, including a degree of risk. Falls from tree stands can occur due to improper use and can be deadly. A fall from a stand can result in a discharge of a weapon towards a home, resulting in a tragic accident. It has been said that there are too many deers in this city. Quite frankly, this is not an overpopulation. I have purchased my home on this land for the purpose of the wildlife and to see deer every day. For the past few years, I'm lucky if I see one once a month. I have spoken to many neighbors in the area and they rarely see deer. A better way to spend our dollars, per your council meeting minutes, police radios, repairs to city streets, holiday brunch for employees.
Lori, are you close? Because
Yeah, I'm close.
you're beyond the 5 minutes.
I knew I was.
Go for it.
I'm trying, thank you.
All right.
Police radios, repairs to city, holiday brunch for employees, HVAC system, repairs to computer and software, hardware because your website was down on Sunday. The elevator needs repair, rates for compensation for administration personnel,
the city's aging electrical infrastructure, and the many declaring all state of emergency. Council and everybody, I'm begging you to please stop shooting back there because it is a serious safety issue. Thank you.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Jennifer Schofield. I'm the Director of Public Safety. What I have, handed out to you is a downloaded map of the parcels along Defoe Drive, also indicating parcels that run along Canterbury to the city-owned property that's been mentioned by the previous resident who spoke. A few things that I wanted to point out for you. The parcel 23229009 is the complainant's property with reference to the alleged trespassing. You will see that in the middle of the photo on the left-hand side. The owners of parcels 23229035 and 9036 along Defoe have provided the city with consent to enter their property in order to access the city-owned property to the north. Parcel 23229002 is owned by the city. In the rear of parcel 9036 is a small shed you will see circled in green, which marksmen and city employees use as a reference point for accessing the city property. The red block to the north and south shows where our sharpshooters have placed signage to reference the deer management program activity. Those are the no trespassing signs. Those are clearly on the city property. The green lines on the map are the pathways that are walked in order to access the city-owned property. Again, both those on either side of the green line are residents who have given permission for our sharpshooters to access their land. The green oval on Defoe Drive is the location where they park their van for drop-off when they're actually in the culling activity, as well as when they go back to retrieve the carcasses, which they have to do. So I wanted to demonstrate that to you. First and foremost, the deer management program is designed to protect people and property, as well as the overall health of the herd and other wildlife. This fall, we posted an online survey that was available to residents about the deer survey. The Ohio Division of Wildlife now requires that we do that every year. It was open from October 22nd through November 15th. We received a total of 339 responses. Of those, almost 80% in the survey have at least some concern about deer versus vehicle accidents in North Olmsted. 63% of participants described the deer population as increasing over the last 5 years, and 60% would like to see the deer population decrease. All three of our marksmen are State of Ohio certified peace officers. 2 are currently on active duty in the North Olmsted Police Department. 1 is retired NOPD. Each has been certified via the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy, or OPATA, as firearms instructors. 2 officers are on the West Shore Enforcement Bureau SWAT team and train rigorously with firearms on a regular basis. There has been some question as to the qualifications of our sharpshooters. 1 officer is a SWAT marksman observer, commonly known as a sniper, where he has completed state certification programs for the same, FBI qualifications for the same, and has worked with specialized Secret Service units in the same capacity. Marksmen qualify on the rifle platform annually prior to engaging in deer management activities. Each year prior to the start of the management program, each rifle is zeroed to the specific marksman who will be using it. If you're unfamiliar with what that means, it means the gauge is set clearly for the person who will be using that firearm. The marksmen utilize the same platform that every officer of the North Olmsted Police Department trains with and qualifies on annually. Signage is posted in the vicinity of each management area, and residents in the immediate area are notified